Let's clean off our old grip wax. First, let's fix the ski into the ski mold or hold it securely with your hands, and then we're going to pick up an old putty knife. We're going to flex the blade so the blade comes right underneath the grip wax, so we don't have too much to remove with wax remover. You're going to go down both sides of the tracking groove. Sticky. Clean up the other side. We'll see if we can get this down under a minute and a half per ski. Should be no problem. Now this putty knife technique can be used on really any grip wax. Next we're going to take the wax remover, spray a little bit on the rag and just clean it off. We don't want too much wax remover on the ski. It's just going to take longer to evaporate, and why waste all that organic solvent? Then we're going to do the sidewalls as well. And when that's done, we're going to let the ski dry for a little bit, and then it's ready to wax. Well, now we're going to make our skis go fast. We're going to apply the glide wax. I'm going to start by taking my real waxing iron, getting it just the right temperature so the wax will melt without smoking out, obviously, the tips and the tails. I'm not going to put any glide wax into the grip zone. If it was a skate ski, then I would obviously do the entire ski. Now I'm going to heat the wax into the base, moving in one direction only, and I do this so I don't overheat the base when I stop the iron to change direction. Concentrating the heat on one place of the ski can cause the base to lift off the core of the ski, or worse yet, just melt the base entirely. And that is not a warranty product. That's not a warranty problem. That is operator error. So use as low a temperature as you can get away with. 3 to 4 passes should do it. If I was getting ready for a big race, then I'd probably take a few more passes at it, allowing the ski to cool off in between, so again I don't overheat the ski. I'm using a real professional quality or whatever ski specific waxing iron as opposed to an old clothes iron. These bases are much thicker, and it will do a better job of keeping an even heat throughout the iron itself. Plus the thermostats work on a very small temperature range. A clothes iron has a very large temperature range, so I can control the melting ability of the wax quite a bit better. They're a little tougher, so they can take a few kicks in and out. Again, the iron itself won't be as prone to smoking up. Now I have to let the entire ski cool down before I start scraping. Scraping the ski removes all of the glide wax that is not soaked into the base itself or been absorbed by the base. Do yourself a favor, sharpen your scraper. Take a sharp steel scraper or some sandpaper and true up the edge. This will cut the wax off as opposed to just sort of pushing it off the base, and you'll get a much cleaner scraping job. Colder, low temperature waxes or low snow temperature waxes will come off in dust or be quite brittle and chip a lot. The warmer weather waxes, stuff that you'd use around 0, -5 or so, they'll just peel right off like a candle wax. Do the edges, sweep it all off. Now I'm also going to clean the tracking groove. This is pretty important, especially if you are on a skate ski, because the tracking groove will help the ski go in a straighter line. It will affect the handling if you leave it full of wax. Plus it will be pretty slow. The tracking groove is a running surface just like the rest of the ski. Now I'm going to use a brush, and the brush is going to pull out all the wax out of the microstructure in the base. So in colder temperatures I won't have extra glide wax digging into snow crystals, or vice versa, snow digging into leftover wax. And in warmer weather where I have a lot of snow humidity, I have the structure pulled out of the base. How do I know where to put my grip wax? Well, after a short ski, I'm going to look at the base, rub my fingers from the tips and the tails into the middle, and where I feel the grip wax begin, well, that will be my grip wax zone. Next, I'm going to rough up the grip zone for better wax retention. I'm going to use a fairly rough sandpaper, 100 grit or so, and move it across the base of the ski sideways so I make the grip zone look a little fuzzy. You only need to do this a couple of times a season. With the grip zone roughed up, I can apply a base binder. This can either be a very tough cold wax such as a Swix, Polar, or Rhodey Alaska, or a specific base binder. Gets rubbed on like a conventional grip wax. Then I'm going to iron it in. First, I'm going to wipe off any glide wax that you might have left on the base of the iron. Glide wax makes a very poor binder. Once that's been ironed in, I'm going to smooth it out with a cork. Now I can apply the grip wax of the day. I'm going to crayon it on, and once I have my grip zone covered, I'm going to smooth it out once again with a cork, and I'll repeat this 4 or 5 times, and that should get me to at least 15 kilometers worth of skiing. Applying KLISTER isn't such a bad thing. You're going to have a clean base, just as you had with the regular grip zone, and now you're going to take the tube of KLISTER, usually a tough green thing. Here I'm using Toko green, and I'm going to dab it onto the base. Little chevron pattern seems to work best, so I'm just going to stay inside my usual grip zone, but maybe shorten it up maybe an inch at either end, because this stuff will flow a little bit. Now this KLISTER application technique I cannot take credit for. I'm going to give credit to Yaroslav Chomiak, our Manitoba biathlon coach, who grew up with KLISTER living in Central Europe. They probably use KLISTER 9 times out of 10. Now comes the fun part. You're going to take a waxing cork now and smooth it out. Some short, furious strokes with the cork will actually smooth it out better and faster than using a spreader and a torch like we used to do in the old days, and a heck of a lot safer. Now when you're done, you can freeze it before you apply anything over top of it.